everybody, and welcome back to another episode of First and Last. This is our last episode of Spooky Month. My name is Josh. With me this week, I've got Joe.
Hey, man.
And Jimmy.
What is it that is up?
Hello.
I hope this isn't our last spooky month.
Oh, by no means should it be, at least, But
or spooky show. We don't have to do spooky shows only.
Yeah, you're right. But Spooky Month is over as of 3 days after this comes out, I think.
Sure. Get him in.
So we will not have another Spooky Month episode this year. But, this entire year is essentially one big Spooky Month if we're really going to be honest about it.
I'm just going to keep picking.
Month.
Yeah. I'm just going to keep picking spooky shows.
Nothing we can watch on TV is scarier than what's happening in real life, except on the day that we're recording this is the final presidential debate, so maybe that might be the most terrifying thing you could watch.
Yeah. Specifically chose this exact time to watch other TV.
Yeah. I watched the first presidential debate and the vice presidential debate, and it's not like I'm an undecided voter, so it's not, I really have to hear, but the spectacle is interesting. I do want to see whether or not, because they said they were turning off their mics. I would like to see whether or not Trump tries to just yell over the mic to get picked up in like Biden's mic.
Just like other room, just, hey, Joe, sleepy.
You just walk over there.
Oh my God, he just wanders over.
Just grabs the mic. Excuse me, I have more to say.
Something seems to be the problem. My mic seems to be turned off. It's a bad Trump. I don't know what that was. Well, that's not what we're doing. Joe, what is first and last for anybody who saw this episode and clicked on it for the very first time?
We take a TV show and watch only the first episode and only the last. Nothing in between. A lot of times it doesn't make sense. This time we're doing spooky shows because it's October.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. This one's going to make a little bit more sense and also not make sense, however, with our format in general, because we're not technically watching a storied show that goes episode to episode of stories. It's contained within one episode. I generally believe that is true. It is I think we've done two pretty solid adult scary shows this month, so I decided to bring it back to our childhoods.
Oh man,
I'm
so excited.
I decided that today we're gonna watch Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Oh, nice.
Tight.
I knew it was either gonna be that or Goosebumps, and I was fairly excited for both.
I've seen some Goosebumps. I think Goosebumps came back too. So like, Are You Afraid of the Dark had a 90s run, and then I think they have what they consider like a 2000s run, because it stopped for a while.
Okay.
Let me pull up my stats here.
Yeah, I'm seeing that it ran from 91 to 96, and then there's another run from like 99 to 2000.
Yes.
And then there's another one that was like just last year, but I guess that was only like 3 episodes.
It was a couple, and I think they're presuming that there's actually going to be a season 2 of the current one as well.
Okay.
So what we're going to watch is part of the first 5 seasons that was on Nickelodeon. Episode 1 that occurred on October 25th, 1991. They couldn't have waited 6 days, apparently, and had this TV show like beyond the 31st, but whatever. And then it ran 5 seasons, 13 episodes each season, and ended on February 3rd of 1996. Then to come back almost exactly 3 years later on February 6th of 1999. But we're going to watch that 1991 to 1996 first cut.
Nice. So this is
what we're gonna go with
Nickelodeon. Did you say? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm guessing like with any like Nickelodeon show, they probably aired this the week before and then just ran it over and over and over again until Halloween, probably.
Yeah, I'm wondering if we're going to be able to see like Stickly in
Hope so.
in this or not. He hosted some stuff.
Yeah, he was he like the Nick Jr. host guy? I feel like this is more of a Nick at
kind
night.
of. I remember him from when I was one of the older kids in daycare
Nice.
back in the day. Well, they go there after school or something like that for a hot minute, or when there wasn't school and stuff. And then in the middle of the day, the little kids would have to take a nap. But I was like a good older kid, so I didn't have to take a nap. And I got to watch that like 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock to like 3 o'clock part of Nickelodeon where like Stickly hosted, and it was like, "Hey dude," and "Salute your shorts," and stuff like that. And in the middle of the shows, he like spun some wheel, and it didn't mean anything, but it was fun. I liked it.
Oh man, so badly. I want to remember the show with the two redheaded brothers,
Pete and Pete.
Pete
and Pete are on in that same block. So good. That's got to be on the list.
We could have a Nickelodeon. We could easily
Nick
have like
month?
a Nickelodeon month. Yeah. Yeah. Hosted by Stickly.
It could be next month.
Yeah. Okay. Next month, Nick-tember.
That doesn't even make sense. Nickvember? Nickvember.
It would be Nickvember. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it would be. So, Are You Afraid of the Dark? Today we're going to be introduced to the Midnight Society. Joe,
Oh, yeah.
I had a thought that you were going to be pretty excited about this because you've definitely talked about Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Oh yeah, I
multiple
love this show.
occasions.
It's one of my favorite shows as a kid. I don't know if that probably started my whole like love of spooky stuff.
Yeah.
Got a spooky persona now. But yeah, they, it is an anthology. There's a different story every episode, but it's a group of kids that get together and tell some sort of ghost or horror story. In this club they call the Midnight Society. They usually like throw this magic dust on the fire before they start their story. It's got to be some sort of like
that's why you
gunpowder or
always do
something,
that.
right?
Oh God.
If you just
Like,
throw
Joe, why
sand
are
on
you
a fire,
throwing
it
sand
doesn't
on
do
stuff?
that.
Well, it's got to be magic sand, Joe.
Yeah. It just
don't
puts
think
the
you can
fire
just
out if you just
throw-
throw sand.
Yeah, you can't just go to a beach and pick up sand and throw it on a fire. You're gonna put the fire out.
Yeah.
I
you know?
definitely don't
Best-
think you want to do that with gunpowder either, though.
Explodes.
It's
a bad
probably
choice.
maybe it's a mixture, gunpowder and sand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just mix that together and just toss it on there. Some of it
Actually,
goes
I bet
out,
if
some
you-
of it explodes.
I bet if you took just like a whole pixie stick, unloaded it into your hand and threw it into the fire, but that sugar would just erupt. So maybe that's what they used.
Yeah, it could just be sugar.
We'll Google it.
Yeah.
No, well, actually,
Figure that.
I'd rather not Google it. Listeners, if you could just throw some sand substances into fires and let us know what happens, that'd be great. We're not liable if you decide to do that, but
And substances.
if you could tell us, allegedly, what happened.
Google says the Midnight Dust was non-dairy creamer.
I hope
Okay.
that's true.
Now I feel like I have to. God, I hate that. I hate that powdered creamer. It's
They literally
awful.
just grabbed it off the craft services table, like last minute. Hey, I got an idea.
Also, like that it's dairy free. Like you don't want that.
Yeah.
Good job.
All that packet creamer. It's all dairy free.
So I mean, yeah, I guess there is a connection for all these 5 seasons is the fact that all the kids meet up in the woods around the campfire to talk, and they do that kind of before the episode story starts. They have their little interactions. Some kids like, all right, it's my story.
Yeah.
And then they submit it for the approval of the Midnight Society, throw some non-dairy creamer into the fire, start telling it. So hopefully we'll have some predictions then, I guess, of maybe is the crew disbanding, you think, at the end or not?
Ooh.
We'll save it. We'll
I don't
save
know.
it.
Well,
but
for this
there's
first
got to be
one,
some sort of congruity there.
Mhm. For this first one, do you think someone's like joining, or are they forming the group for the first time?
Ooh.
100% there's like a group of like 5 to 6 that's already there, and then someone's
They're
like,
initiating.
I brought my friend Daryl, he's really creepy and like scary shit.
Spooky.
And then they're like, if it's your first time in Midnight Society, you gotta fight. So they make
It's just Fight Club.
so they make that person tell a story to like prove their worth.
Yep. And then after he's done with his story, they're like, all right, now let's tape up your knuckles and let's fight. It's also
The
a
last
Fight
5
Club.
minutes, the last 5 minutes is the story he's telling is just 11-year-olds beating the hell out of each other.
Oh man, Lord of the Flies.
I'm in.
Yeah,
I'm in.
who are the parents of these kids that they just get to like go out into the woods at midnight like once a week?
I mean,
I feel like
Joe,
these kids
it's
are
not-
teens, right?
I mean, yeah,
I
they're
guess.
they're the very most. I think they're in junior high, if not high school.
Mhm.
And it is also early 90s. You know,
When nothing
Where-
bad could happen.
in the 90s, dude, I walked out of my house, like my parents' house, when at like noon, and I was like, "See you later," and they were like, "Be home before it's dark." And in the summertime, that's like 9 hours, you know. And I would still get home every night after dark, and they'd be like, "You're late," and I'd be like, "Nah, what are you gonna do?"
It's like,
Yeah.
I was telling ghost stories. What are you going to do?
And we didn't have like cell phones, you know.
Mm.
Before-
Very
so
true. That was
so I-
very different for different kids throughout Minnesota, though, because of early '90s missing. What's his name? Famously missing
Jacob Wetterling.
Wetterling. Now we have Amber
Yeah.
Alerts because of like some families definitely reined it in hard in the early '90s.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Definitely
That's
depended.
definitely true. I think it obviously just depends on where you live, no matter where in the nation you lived. But I feel like,
Yeah.
especially '90s parents were, a little, at least in my experience, a little bit more like, yeah, just don't die.
Yeah.
Also, don't burn anything down, please.
Yeah, some parents love
Yeah.
their kids, and some, whatever.
Some like mine, let me have a good time.
Yeah. My parents still don't know where I am. It's 9:00.
You left at noon one day and just never came back.
Do you know where your kids are?
Well, okay, so I'm gonna say can do a little bit differently. Is the very first episode of this episode is called "The Tale of the Phantom Cab." That is the first episode of this.
Spooky.
I guess what do we think's happening not only in the story that they tell, but within the interactions of the Midnight Society? Because we have two different stories essentially.
Well, I think if it's, I like your idea of it being a new guy who's trying to prove himself with a story. And if that's the case, I think they're razzing him about like, oh, this story isn't scary the whole time. And then by the end, they're all scared. I think that's what's
Yeah,
going
I
on
bet
in
they-
the outer realm.
I could see that they do like, they 5 minutes of telling the Phantom Cab story or whatever, and then they click back to the kids around the campfire. At like a commercial break would happen, and then it would start back with the Midnight Society for like a minute, and then go back into the thing of them like razzing the new kid or something.
I like that. I think that it's gonna start. We're gonna have a new kid, but it's gonna be like you're not really in the society yet. You've got to like earn your keep and like not get spooked by some stuff, and then you got to like tell a story, and then you're in.
I think there's going to be one kid in the Midnight Society in the first like bit of the show who's going to be wearing like a really weird, creepy mask. And then he's going to be like, "You scared, new boy? Tell us a story."
Early 90s.
There's going to be basically what I'm saying is there's going to be a preteen that's going to make me very uncomfortable.
Over under on overalls in this episode.
Over under, yes.
Okay.
No.
Wait a minute.
Like pairs of
whatever
overalls?
number you say, I'm taking the under.
Over under pairs of overalls. Yeah.
Is that functional for a campfire?
I mean, they're probably in Canada, right? I assume this is a Canadian show.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have proof of that?
Why?
Because I feel like it is.
Yeah, a lot of
Okay.
these like kids shows are just like filmed in Canada. I don't know why, but they just are.
Yep.
Cheaper.
It was picked up by Nickelodeon in 1991. Mikhail Kendall and Nickelodeon teamed up with the Canadian company Cinar, and as a part of the deal, the show was filmed in Richmond, British Columbia, and in the greater Montreal area of Quebec. But
All right.
you can tell. You can just tell it feels Canadian.
Yeah. Everyone's real friendly.
Like it's
Even the ghosts.
spooky. It's spooky, but like even the ghost goes like, "Boo! Oh, sorry there. Sorry, I scared you there."
Speaking of
Oh,
ghosts,
sorry.
I think that the cab is gonna just be driven by a ghost, and that's gonna be the deal.
You don't think it's
Okay.
like a whole like ghost car?
I mean, like I hope that. I want that. Like
Oh, like that Stephen King book or whatever that the car is like alive, or just like Knight Rider, I guess.
yeah, or any what's the love bug?
Herbie?
Herbie.
Fully loaded?
Yeah.
Herbie's fully loaded.
Oh god. You just like hail a cab and it stops and you get in and then it takes off and you realize there's no one driving it. That's what we're doing.
Mm.
Is that
No,
what you're-
I think there's this driver. I guess I think like the whole like it's a spooky car. Maybe it like is see through like a ghost also.
Ooh.
Yeah, I would assume it's probably a phantom cab, as in like the driver is a ghost, and therefore like it's kind of a ghost car too, because it's just like a part of the ghost, and it's probably some high schoolers that are somehow get stranded somewhere, and then they like get a cab ride.
This is
And
reminding
that-
me a lot of something else. Of that Bill Murray's like Christmas Carol movie, Scrooged. You see that? And like his like whatever ghost that brings him to the other ghosts. What is that ghost? Because there's like the ghost of Christmas past and future and present, but then there's the ghost that just brings him places. Anyway,
Yeah,
he's
it's
a he's a ghost
It's
cab.
a ghost of taxi cabs.
He's a ghost cabbie.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very crude. That's what I assume we're watching.
Yeah, that's
Scrooged.
what we're watching. Yeah, we're gonna watch the Bill Murray movie, the whole movie. All right, okay. Well, hey, let's just get into it. I think we have some solid guesses of what we're gonna do, both of the story of the Phantom Cab and also of how the Midnight Society itself is going to like interact and set itself up in the beginning of this episode. So let's just jump in to the first episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark, called The Tale of the Phantom Cab. And we're back. We're done with the first episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark, called The Tale of the Phantom Cab. Jimmy, do you have a write-up?
Yeah, I just am giggling because I love the way you read the question mark into that. Of the dark?
Dark?
Okay, so Tale of the Phantom Cab. Two brothers who often fight with each other get lost in the woods and come across a mysterious cab driver named Flynn. He leads the two boys to an unusual man named Dr. Vink to help them find their way out of the woods. The catch is that Vink will not help any of his guests until they solve one of his riddles. Failure to do so results in undesired consequences.
Yeah, they have to.
Death.
The little boys have to give him a specimen.
Ugh.
It's literally what they said. He
When you
said
say
that
it like
over and
it
over
sounds
again.
Sexual.
It sounded sexual the whole time.
I think Dr. Vink was playing a line for sure. He's like, I'm not being weird.
Yeah.
You're weird.
He's just like a Hagrid-looking MFer, you know? What is he a doctor of?
Yeah, I'd like to see his credentials.
You have a degree.
Dude, you were right though. He did look like Hagrid. When I saw him, I was like, "Is that Hagrid?"
It's not.
It's not. I looked it up. It's
Is
not.
that a Harry Potter person?
Yeah.
Yeah, Hagrid is. He was, however, in some. He's known for on IMDb is number one. He was known for X-Men. He was MC. I think he was just an MC.
He was an MC of something.
Yeah,
gala?
in the 2000 X-Men movie. And then his second one was this episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah,
So,
I'll pop that in and check out Dr. Vink.
yeah,
sure.
see if you can find a guy that kind of looks like Hagrid in X-Men movie.
I think that movie's pretty good.
In general, like the story itself was two brothers got lost in the woods, met up with a dead dude who brought him to a doctor who was like, solve a riddle, and if you don't, I think the implication was he was gonna steal their brains for
He did
science.
talk about brains, but then he showed him a jar with a hand in it.
Oh, okay.
So he's obviously doing some other stuff as well.
So yeah, he had a animal brain. What was it? I forgot what it was.
It was like a wild hog or something.
Wild hog, yeah, a wild hog's brain.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was like, I want to get a specimen from you boys. And I was like, that's weird, dude.
Yeah. And then at that point, the older brother was like, cool, can we call our parents?
Yeah.
He's like,
And
no.
he was like, no, not until you
So
answer
many
my
red
riddle.
flags. So
Yeah,
many
at
red
that
flags.
point, you should be like, okay, no, I'm just going to go then. I'll take my chances in the woods.
Also funny when they started telling the story and they were describing the brothers. Buzz is the little brother, and then Danny's the big brother.
Mm-hmm.
And Buzz is just a little wiener, like, you know, he's just a little skinny kid.
Yeah.
And they were like, I think they described Buzz as being smart and fast and like strong. And I was like, he's not strong.
No.
Like,
No.
he's like 9.
You mean
He's
got
just like a
strong
little
heart?
boy.
Got a lot of heart.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe he's got a lot of fortitude or something.
He's kind of a dick. Dick older brother.
Oh, that's
I'm
Danny.
gonna pound you. Yeah.
Danny's the older brother. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, the older brother was totally a dick for sure. Also, I laughed when Buzz, the little brother, was looking at his like compass and just walked off a cliff.
Yeah, like you do. It was like the first thing that happened.
Yeah. They described that little brother as being smart, and then he walked off a cliff.
Yeah, because he was staring down at his compass.
That was also next to his metal belt buckle, so therefore it wasn't working correctly.
Yeah, which
Yeah,
I don't know.
2
if
strikes
that's really...
against him.
That's
2
really
strikes
enough
for
to-
Buzz. Again, guarantee you his last name wasn't Aldrin, because he definitely was not.
McAllister.
Oh, nice.
Buzz's
See what you did
girlfriend.
there.
Woof.
I mean, yeah. So then they got into the doctor like wouldn't let them use the phone. Said there was a cab. They got into the cab, which is weird.
Yeah. Well, they
then
didn't get the riddle right. 'Cause-
Right. Well, they just didn't even answer it because they didn't know.
Yeah, they didn't know. Vink said, if you solve my riddle, you can call your parents, and if not, you can leave. Which, okay. Don't like where this is going, but sure, give me the riddle. And did either of you guys write down the riddle?
I don't know it for sure, but it's something like you can put it into a box and you can see it and it makes the box lighter. A
barrel.
barrel. It would work with a box too, just FYI.
Yeah, but he had a physical barrel in front of him.
Oh, okay.
You can't
Yeah.
see it.
You can.
Or yeah, you it makes the thing lighter. You can see it. There's one other thing.
Yeah, I don't remember what the first part was. But I mean, it's still the same answer even without that first part. The first part's useless.
It's like you
But-
put it in a barrel.
Mm-hmm.
You can see it, and it makes it lighter. Yeah. So then Danny said, like, so they're in the cab, like, about to die, and they apparently could still answer it to Flynn, and it would count, even though
Flynn
Dr. Vink was
specifically
long
did
gone.
say, he was like, you still got time to
You got
answer
30
it.
seconds before I kill you.
Yeah.
And then
So Flynn was the guy that showed them to Dr. Vinks in the first place, right?
yeah.
And then
Who
when they
looked
get in the cab with
alive.
him later, yeah, when they
And
get in
they
the
ran
cab with
into
him
him.
later, he's like much paler,
Yeah. Very
much
suddenly
more
dead.
ghostly.
And also, so then they solve it in the cab.
Mhm.
The cab disappears, and they just fall where the car was,
Mhm.
feet away from the tree they were about to crash into and die. And then they said Fink's place was just like a pile of rubble, so he was also a ghost.
Well,
Question
yeah.
mark?
So after they solve the riddle, they end up like just like landing in the woods, like right where the car was driving them, and they get picked up like by a park ranger who takes them home. And then in like the epilogue, the voiceover says that like the kids brought them to where Dr. Vinks was, and it wasn't like, instead of like a house, it was just like a pile of rubble. So
Huh.
maybe a ghost, maybe some sort of, or maybe he was just a guy covering his tracks. He's like, oh shit, those kids got out. I gotta
Burn
gotta
this
close
place
up
to
shop.
ground.
Oh shit, this didn't work out.
Man.
So yeah, so Flynn, the cab driver, is a ghost because he says that he was like a kid that was also asked to solve one of Vink's riddles, but he didn't get it. And so like 40 years ago, he like crashed his car into a tree.
Oh, did he say 40? I thought he said 4.
Oh, I thought it
Yeah,
was
he's-
40 because I think he was a kid.
Yeah, he said 40. Yeah.
40
Yeah.
makes more sense because the kid was like, "You don't look that old," and I was like, "It was only 4 years ago." Like that's what
Yeah.
that's what I thought. So okay, I heard that wrong. Good.
My favorite part of
makes
that
more
though
sense.
was like, so like he reveals that like he like puts his arm up to show like that he's missing a hand because like Vink took his hand, and then like the part where he reveals that like he's a ghost, he was like, oh yeah, there's another thing I forgot to mention, and he's like, and he turns his head around, but like not his body, but his just head just does a 180, and he's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of died.
Just does
like
like an
really-
exorcist.
Yeah, really great special effect of just like guy's head turning all the
That
way
was.
around.
I'll legitimately say that might have been kind of my favorite part of the episode.
Yeah, that was
I kind of
great.
died, and I was like, "Ah, that's fun." That was
He's
fun.
just got like the wildest look in his face, and he's just like, I'm dead.
Right. I mean, this
Kinda.
episode, it totally brings back a bunch of like fun, like kid feels. Like, you know, like, oh, I remember being a kid and watching this dumb, like, Are You Afraid of the Dark / Goosebumps type, like, not scary at all. But when you're like 8 to 11 years old, you're like, oh, I'm kind of spooked right now.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's like just a little exciting.
Yeah. It's like perfect
Yeah.
for like that age.
Just pee yourself a little bit, but like not have
yeah.
nightmares.
Yeah, exactly. It's not enough to like make you want to like sit around with the lights on all night long, but enough to like spook you for about 45 minutes afterwards, and then you'll forget about it fully.
That's great. So we talked about the like story, but we didn't talk at all about the Midnight Society.
Right.
So there's like 6 kids, or there's like 5 kids there, and another kid comes through the woods, and so the 5 kids are around a campfire in the woods, and another kid brings a blindfolded kid behind him to the fire pit, and they explain like the like main guy, I forget his name. He didn't.
I wrote down their names when he said them. They were David, Kiki, Betty Ann, Christy, and Eric. And then the new kid was named Frank.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
so
I don't
David
know-
was the
I
main
don't-
guy.
No,
I don't
he
know.
He never. No, the little
I don't know if
blonde
he-
kid was David, I think.
I think David was the kid that was next to the blindfolded kid.
There's one more. Gary.
Gary.
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
So Gary's explaining at the very beginning that like this thing that they do is the only thing that these kids do together. Like they're not friends like outside of this. Like, they have nothing in common except for scary stories.
One's a jock, one's in choir, one's in chess team. But together they tell secret, scary stories.
Together they are Captain Planet. Yeah, and then they keep Frank the new guy's got to tell a scary story, and then they have to vote. So it's got to be scary, and they have to unanimously approve the kid, which is like, damn, like how many kids have they like not let in this thing?
Right.
And
also, like, I mean, he was blindfolded the whole time, but it's like, there's no way that this kid wasn't like, oh, that's Kiki for sure. Like, you know, he knows who these kids are around this fire pit for sure. It's just funny.
And you're in the woods, so it's like he's not gonna know where you are. Like, that's just mean.
No, I liked it. I liked that they kept it up the whole time, just blindfolded the whole time.
Yeah, if his story sucked, they would have just left him there.
They just this like halfway through they're like, oh, we're bored, and they leave, and he's just continues to tell the story to no one.
He just tells them,
oh my god, it's
The fire
amazing.
slowly burns out.
guys, I'm done with the story. Are you still here?
Scared silent, huh?
Gotcha. But in the end, apparently his story was good enough, and they all voted him in. So he is now part of the Midnight Society.
Yeah.
So way to go, Frank.
By unanimous vote.
Yeah. So they did a beginning part with the Midnight Society, an end part, and they had like one little tiny like middle part as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like a little check-in.
The middle part was kind of funny because like he's in the middle of this telling the story, and they're like asking all these questions. They're like, wait, that's not a solvable riddle. Wait, why would they do this? Wait, what's going on? And he's like, can I just finish telling the story?
I like the kid.
Yeah, exactly.
The kid that was like, that's not a solvable riddle. It's like, come on, dude. Really? Pretty ridiculous. I mean, all in all, what do you guys think? First episode, was it worthy? Is it good?
Oh yeah. I'm sold.
It was weird. Like the Phantom Cab stuff didn't really come in until like right at the end. Like that was really only like 2 to 3 minutes of the episode where they're actually.
Is your hang up the title then? Is that all it is?
No, I think it's just isn't because like that was really the spooky part. There wasn't enough spooky for me. Like the Dr. Vink stuff was creepy and weird. But that's different.
Sure. It was a slow build.
Yeah, I was kind of expecting like ghosts and spooky stuff right away. But it didn't really get there until we actually found out that like Flynn was dead and his head flipped around. It's kind of a slow burn for a kids show.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it did take a minute. I feel like the minute they got, I mean, it established the two kids as brothers and their interactions, and then they met Flynn, which is a weird dude in the woods, and then they met the doctor, which is like, that's immediately terrifying, you know? And then there was a ghoulie thing with, I'm already dead with Flynn over
that
there.
part was great, though. Yeah, I really sold it. I really believe that he was dead.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I give that guy, he gave me 5 stars. I give him 5 stars. That's how it works.
Reciprocal stars.
I'm into it. I think this is perfect for like kids. I think this is like exactly what it's for, and I think it's perfect. And it kind of brings me back to that. So it's kind of it's almost like a perfect like let's carve pumpkins and put this on now as adults scenario. That's what this is to me.
I will say, like, cards on the table. So I got the write-up from Wikipedia, the like list of episodes, and it says in the episode under the summary who the storyteller kid was, and then it lists Dr. Vink, that actor, as a guest star. So really excited to be like, okay, maybe these kids develop like themes, like if they keep coming back to them, like do they tell, like is this like how I'm thinking of like Goosebumps really, but like the part 2 and 3s of some of the books is like, okay, does this each kid have like a theme that they do, and what kind of crazy guest stars might we have, which would be fun. I want to see some Samuel L. Jacksons is what I'm saying.
I mean, that would be awesome. Just FYI, before we get into predictions, I looked up the last episode, and it's told by Gary.
Oh, okay.
So if one of you
Fitting.
just wrote that. But so let's do that. Let's do predictions. I'll do mine first.
Oh, yeah.
I did 2 predictions for the Midnight Society, and then I did 2 predictions for the actual story itself. So that's kind of how I divided it up. I don't know how you guys did it.
I did the
But-
same,
Oh, cool.
but just by chance.
So number 1, I guess I thought the Midnight Society is disbanding.
Mm.
I think
Sad
that's
day.
what's happening. Yeah, because it's that
'Cause
last episode.
they're like 25 now. And they're like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, they should be graduating. They should have already been done with high school and moved on. None of them went to college just so
I've
they
been
could sit in the woods
flying
together.
in from school to do this.
Yeah. So that's number 1. Their Midnight Society is disbanding. Number 2 is because they're disbanding. I think at the end of the episode they put the fire out.
Okay.
Like they show them putting the fire out.
I feel like they should
so-
do that every night.
Yeah, probably.
Seems like a safe
No,
way
it's
to
like
go.
it's their bonfire is like the Olympic flame. It never goes out. Intel.
Spooky.
Yeah.
That's what
and
the
so,
creamer does to it. It just keeps it burning.
The one thing we did do that all of us new listeners before is we knew the title of the episode just so we were all on even footing. So the title of the last episode is called The Tale of Badge. So one of my predictions is that Badge is a werewolf.
Oh.
That's
I figured
amazing.
I figured Badge is some sort of like monster or creature or something. So I went werewolf.
I literally have the exact same prediction.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then finally, I did it, I think, last season, and I'm going with it. I think there's a blimp in this episode.
Oh, nice.
I want to see a Zeppelin of some sort.
Cool.
And those are my 4.
I could do mine. All of mine are story related. I didn't even think about the Midnight
You
Society.
don't even care about the Midnight Society.
No, they're just chilling. I think the Midnight Society it's just Gary and Frank telling stories back and forth to each other. All the other kids have moved on. I think Dr. Vink is back.
Ooh, I hope so.
Like I'm pretty sure he's a recurring character, but I think just for the sake of prediction, he's back in this finale episode because you got to close out with the Vinkster.
The Vink Man.
I think the story revolves around 2 kids again. In this first episode, it was 2 brothers. But I think in this one, it's like a bully and a nerd that like don't get along, but they get roped into some spooky adventure together.
Okay.
I like it. Unlikely friends.
Yeah. We talked a lot about how in the first episode, the like fun special effect was the ghost guy turning his head all the way around. I think in this one, the fun, spooky special effect is like some sort of monster is revealed to have 6 arms.
Okay.
I was trying to think
Like
because
like Goro, like a better Goro. What was that?
because
from
Goro
Mortal
had
Kombat.
4 arms.
He only had 4. Yeah.
So
Was there a
Goro
6-armed
plus
one?
another set.
I
Yeah.
think there was a 6-arm, wasn't there? Oh,
don't know.
Google.
Kind of do, but I can't remember for sure.
Gogoro.
In a later, yeah. Okay, wait.
6
Does he
arms.
also have 2 legs then?
2 legs, 6 arms. Yeah.
So this is an 8-legged. This is a Spider-Man.
yeah.
Eight-limbed
essentially.
person.
8-limbed.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's got to be something weird, but it can't be like blood or guts or anything. So I think 6 arms. And then my last one, I think Vink is back, but by the end, Vink goes to jail.
He
I think-
deserves to go to jail if he's a real life person. So.
Yeah, he like goes to jail and like he's like, but for what? And the police are just like, well, murdering 30 people, kidnapping in 50 instances, like animal desecration, several crimes, Mr. Vink.
Just a lot of stuff, dude.
Yeah. Falsifying doctor credentials.
Yeah, you're not a doctor because you like want to be one. That's not. You can't just do that. All right, cool. Jamie, what do you got?
Ooh. Okay, so I first of all have that this starts that this is just another night. That it's not like it's not
It's
over.
not the end.
Right.
Okay.
It's not the last time, or they don't say anything about that.
You're saying they got canceled and they didn't.
That's what I'm assuming. Then I am gonna double down on the overalls. Didn't see any in the first episode, but hoping we see at least a pair. Maybe
Not for a point,
half
but
a
I'm
pair.
still saying no overalls.
Okay.
So.
Well,
Isn't half a pair of overalls just jeans?
half. I don't know. It could just be one leg and one.
Like,
Sounds
No
like a
one-
'90s thing. Yeah, one strap.
One strap and one leg. Okay.
Sounds like a '90s thing. Then I have my werewolf badge one, which I
Yep.
wrote that the story was about a werewolf, and then when you told us about the title, I just put badge next to it.
Badge is a werewolf. Yeah.
And then I think that someone dies in this story.
Okay.
full on
Okay.
death.
Full on death.
Yeah.
We'll find out, won't we?
These
All right,
kids
well-
almost died in the pilot.
This
so.
is true. If he would have not known what a hole was, he would have died. Well, let's watch it. The Tale of Badge, which is the last episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark? The 90s run. That's what I'm going to call it. The 90s Are You Afraid of the Dark? April 20th, 1996. Let's get into it. We'll see you after that. And we're back. We're done with the final episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark of the 90s run. This one was called The Tale of Badge. Jimmy, do you have a write-up?
I do. An insecure girl named Gwen, convinced that she has no special talent.
I'm still convinced she has no special talent, but keep going.
Yeah. Discovers from her Irish grandmother that she has been chosen to carry on the magic her Irish side of the family has had for generations, and puts her skills to the test when her brother is abducted by an evil leprechaun named Badge.
Yep.
With a B.
Yep.
So that's the write-up.
Does anyone want to walk us through what happened step by step, and we can rip it apart as we go?
So we're shown a young girl playing the flute. That's where it starts.
It's her birthday.
And it's her birthday, Gwen. And I am a little fuzzy in the beginning. Like is it her grandma next? Her grandma gives her like this present, and it's this box that has like a special gem and like a necklace.
Yeah.
And the flute? Or did she already have the flute?
No,
I think she
the
just
flute's
gives
in
her
the grandma's box.
necklace.
The flute's
Okay.
in the grandma's box.
Okay.
Like the recorder.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, grandma doesn't give her the gem and the flute. She gives her the necklace and then
Okay.
takes her chest of surprises back to her room because grandma lives in the house.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So she's I think at the very beginning it's Gwen. They're singing happy birthday to Gwen. Parents and Grandma Willie, which is a great grandma name, by the way.
Yeah.
Must be an Irish thing. Maybe it's short for something.
She had a full name. It was like Wilhelm or something. I don't know what it was, but
She was a German man.
the granddaughter looked through like this book, and it had all like the ladies in it of the
Oh.
past, and like it had her full name, but I didn't quite pick it out.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, so yeah, she gets like the present, and then she wants to go to a party later, but she can't because her parents have to go to like some like, I don't know, like a PTA meeting or something,
Mm-hmm.
and then they're like, and grandma has to go hang out with the bridge club. She has to go hang out with the ladies because grandma's in party mode. She's retired.
Heck yeah.
But they're like, Grandma will be back at 8 o'clock, and then you can go to the party. And she's like, oh, cool. And she has to babysit her brother Trevor. But before they leave,
Who's
Trevor,
a little dick,
who is just a tiny ass dick, is like spying on his grandma through the door, and her watching his grandma like lock up this box and then hide the key just in a littler box on top of her dresser.
It's got a lot of boxes.
So when the grandma leaves, the brother goes into the grandma's room and then opens the box. Obviously. Did you also notice? I mean, they didn't show it. They specifically showed the grandma putting the key away, and then the brother went into the room, took the key out, and then he sat down on the bed, and then he just opened the box, but he didn't use the key.
He's just like, oh wait, it's unlocked.
Well, I thought it didn't really show it, but I thought that the key was to like the dresser drawer that the box was in, not the actual box itself.
That's possible.
That was just how I perceived it.
But either way, it was just kind of funny. But so then the kid finds inside the box is like a crystal and like a flute type thing. And the boy just plays a note on the flute, and that somehow summons Badge the leprechaun, who has been trapped in the crystal for 6 centuries, I think he said.
Yeah, he did say that.
Long time.
And
then
now whenever you go outside the house, you're in his creepy, evil garden dimension.
Yeah, it's like
bodies are
wet.
just hanging from trees.
His wet garden.
It looks a lot like a laser tag arena.
Yeah, I
with
can
skeletons.
Uh-huh.
Spooky. Man, I would for sure do spooky Halloween laser tag.
Yeah, sounds great.
Let's make that happen.
Oh man, that sounds
Next
great in
year.
a time where you can hang out with your friends and be social. So then the leprechaun like knocks on the door and tries to get let in, and then he does get in somehow. Did she just end up opening the door for him? Oh, because he like used the grandma's voice, like he.
Oh yeah.
And then she let him in. And then he stole the brother and said, like, give me the setter wind. And I thought he was saying the center wind.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Center
what's
wind.
the center wind?
Yeah, that was bothering me. He said it so many times, and you couldn't really understand what he was saying.
The only reason I knew what he said was because we saw the word on the paper when she was looking through the book of, like, old Irish ladies that have, like, defended the world from this goblin guy.
Yeah. Yeah, because he kept saying, bring me the setter wind. And I was like, is that a thing I'm supposed to know what that is? Did I miss
Well,
this?
here's the deal. He kept saying it. It was pretty obvious that, like, Gwen, the kid, girl, like, who's babysitting, she didn't know what he was saying either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were
So
all
that
on the same page. Nobody knew.
Nobody knew. And then it was like she's looking through a book, and it was like it showed her grandma, and she's like, "Oh, it's my grandma. It's Willie Setterwind." And then it's like, "Oh, it's me. It's Gwen Setterwind." And I'm like, "Is this is not your last name for real though, right? Because you would have known what he was saying."
Right. Yeah. Yeah. At most, it's like her, her grandma's maiden name or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if it's
Something
just
like
passed
that.
along through women, then the name probably got lost a long time ago.
Yeah. And that makes sense, and that's fine with. I get that.
Patriarchy.
It's
And
like
then
the Jews, right? It's passed along on the mother's.
What do
if
they-
your,
what?
if your mother was a Setterwind, then you're also a Setterwind. That's what you mean. Yeah. Yeah.
Although
I
grandma
followed you.
said it went grandma to grandchild, so it must skip.
Skips a generation. Yeah.
Yeah. That made sense because right away I was like, why doesn't the mom know about this magic stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But and then
We
so
should
then
go back
bas-
to like
Oh, yeah.
Badge. Badge is a leprechaun, like ostensibly, but like he looks like he's got the face of like a badger, right?
He's like a creepy mouse pirate monster.
He's got like a little mouse nose, and I think he has whiskers, and like his eyes are like blacked out, and he's got like white skin, like a badger, right?
He looks like some sort of man creature, not just like a leprechaun, like you would normally think a leprechaun would look like.
Yeah.
Your typical leprechaun, at least.
Now that you say badger, I see it.
Yeah, I like what he looked like. He looked creepy. He was the only like creepy part of this whole thing, like just his look.
Yeah. I mean, when he first showed up, I was like, oh, it's a badger. And only later did I realize, like, oh, he's like a leprechaun? He's like part of like Irish lore?
Well, yeah. Gwen used the word goblin a couple of times.
Yeah, she called him a goblin. But maybe she was just being mean to him. I ain't a goblin, I'm a leprechaun.
And, well, was it part of the, like, spell, like, words that she said? She said something about getting rid of Badge in some sort of spell that she found in the book. But then
don't even get me into Gwen's reading comprehension based on how she tried to defeat this freaking guy.
Well, and he was like, yeah, the power of the Setterwind isn't strong enough yet. But then
maybe it's because the Setterwind couldn't follow pretty clear directions within the thing that she had. I mean, for the most part, she was just like trying to figure out how to get her brother back from the goblin, leprechaun, badger man.
Priority one.
And she found the book with her grandma and all these other lady Setterwinds in it and kind of figured out slightly what was going on. And it just clearly laid out this like step-by-step way of getting rid of the leprechaun. And it was like, step 1, play the song. Step 2, use the necklace gem that you have and use that then to like trap him back into the crystal after you've played the song. So what does she do? She immediately runs back into his world and points her necklace at him and is like, why isn't this working?
Not a good test taker.
And I'm like, what are you? God, it told you to play the song. And then Grandma gets back like at 8:00 and gets sucked into his world, the badger guy's world. And she's like, oh, you have to use your gift, Gwen. You have to play the song. And she's like, okay, but what song? And it's like, we've seen the notes on the front of this box that has a flute in it 20 times. You've seen it for sure. So then she finally does it. And she uses her gift of music to play 5 notes just terribly.
Yeah, barely in tune, just enough to get him in the box.
Like, he's got to be the weakest of the leprechauns, right?
We'll never know. Unless they, had him in the reboot. Badge 2. I will say it is weird that his name is Badge, and that's also happens to be the notes that you play. Like, where did that come from?
Oh, I didn't even notice you play BADGE to get rid of him.
That was the whole deal. That she like staring at the chest, like, what am I supposed to do with this? And then she's like, oh, they're music notes.
You really shouldn't name yourself or be affiliated with, like, easily with the thing that can like defeat you. That's not a good idea as a monster or an evildoer.
I don't know, man. Rumpelstiltskin was literally that.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not like, and I'm saying, and that didn't work out for him, did it? Like, if I was gonna start becoming a villain in my life, I wouldn't change my name to like Josh Shoot Me, like.
Or I guess you'd try to keep the song a secret.
Right.
Yeah. Well, you would hope he would try, but he was around. He could have like stolen the box, right? Like, he could have ran upstairs and grabbed the box. It's not like this like teen girl was going to stop him before the grandma got home.
The box was literally in his garden at the beginning.
Yeah.
Gwen just picked it up off the ground.
Yeah.
He's not the smartest goblin leprechaun.
Yeah, he was a terrible bad guy. He was just bad at being bad is really what it was. I don't know. Personally, you guys tell me what you think. I don't think this is the strongest showing for this, for Are You Afraid of the Dark? And I don't think that as an 11-year-old, this even would have made... I think I would have poked holes in this as like a young boy. So, first episode, I thought was fun.
Yeah.
This episode, I saw the holes. I would have been like, this girl's so dumb. I would have been mad as a preteen.
Well, and it's very niche. It's an Irish badger monster who's
There's
like
only a handful of people whose audience this is.
yeah, like as a kid, I guess yeah, maybe there's some like weird magic in your family that you don't know about, but it's like yeah, it's just kind of hard to relate, I guess, that like some like leprechaun monster's going to come out of a box and look for your grandma. There is like I will say like the costume design and makeup of Badge looks great. I like that
agreed.
Like and like his threat is like a real threat. Like he's gonna like hang you by a noose in his garden. Like that's horrifying. There's like skeletons there that have been hanging for centuries.
Right.
So true. It's not just like an idle threat of like I'm gonna take you away. It's like I'm gonna hang you up.
Yeah, I'm going to kill you.
Child,
but I'm going to give you every opportunity to defeat me before I do that.
Yeah. I don't have mercy on children. I will hang you. First your grandma, and then you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Or old women, for that matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's cool. But then, yeah, just it's a very weird story. It's very weird.
Yeah, I guess a lot of the stories are adaptations of like public domain, like fairy tales and stuff. So it would make sense that maybe they're running out of material, just digging into ethnic, fairy tales.
They're just like,
I feel like it'd be pretty in the end. I feel like it'd be pretty easy to write like a scary kids tale from scratch. You could legitimately like on a piece of paper write like vampire, monster, fishman, lizard, king, like whatever, and then just be like mom, dad, brothers, friends, like lone person, horse. Throw everything in like a pile and just pick up pieces of paper and be like, all right, it looks like a lizard man is attacking a ranch and two cousins need to protect their horse from getting eaten by it. Cool. We got an episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark? Yeah, and then you pick up like, how does it die? And you're like, oh, it needs to be burned at the stake. Got it. Cool. We did it.
It sounds like a Cabin in the Woods. Did you see that movie?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
What
maybe tough, rough take is Cabin in the Woods to me is not a horror movie. It is just a weird. It's an homage to horror movies, but not itself being a horror movie.
Okay.
All right. I think it's meant to be a horror movie.
I think people can take it as being a scary movie, being scary to them, but in a way of like it owes so much to everything that came before it, and it could not possibly exist without like 3 decades of horror movies. Like it just couldn't exist without it. So itself is almost like not a horror movie. It's just like the amalgamation of everything that came before it.
Yeah. Sounds like a Joss Whedon thing to do.
Maybe it's a dumb hot take, but I was talking about that to somebody I think this weekend. So
I'll have to watch it again. I'll get back to you.
Watch it. It's a good movie. I love it. It's one of my favorite like scary movies like of the brand, but like yeah.
I remember thinking it was fun. Plus Bradley Whitford. He's great.
I watched it this month. Yeah, Bradley Whitford.
Which one is he?
And Thor. Thor's in it.
Yeah,
Thor's in it.
it.
Which one's Bradley Whitford? Who's he?
He's one of like the worker guys.
Oh, okay. I know who you're talking about. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's
sweet.
the one sending this stuff. I was gonna say one other thing is that when I was looking at the episodes to Are You Afraid of the Dark, not Cabin in the Woods or whatever, there was a run in Canada first. So the way we watched it is the way that it aired on SNCC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the American way, the right way.
Well, and on Wikipedia it seems to say different things too, because it says that that like the 6th episode or something was the pilot, The Tale of the Twisted Claw, and then that was aired in 1990. But
Yeah, they showed that one as like a Halloween special.
Yeah. But like the year before this show started.
Yeah.
So then when they aired it again, it was like episode 4.
Mm-hmm. Which I think makes sense if you're just trying to give like, here's a story and kind of jump right in. The Phantom Cab episode we watched did start out with like an intro to like the characters and stuff, and maybe for just a spooky Halloween special, you don't need all that.
Right.
Yeah.
Really quick, just looking at it, I was trying to look at guest stars because they had some guest stars. Season 2, episode 1, The Tale of the Final Wish. Bobcat Goldthwait was in it.
Excellent.
I don't think I know who that is.
Is he is it Revenge of the Nerds or Police Academy? I always get confused at which. He's a comedian who's got an insane voice.
He was the voice of the stuffed bunny in that TV show that was like The Poor Man's Married with Children. I think it was called Unhappily Ever After.
Yeah.
Also, season 2, episode 8, Melissa Joan Hart.
Oh yeah. That's some sweet Nickelodeon action.
What
I
tale
saw
is that?
Ryan Gosling on there somewhere.
Ooh, the Goss. That's pretty
on
great.
the IMDb page, so would like to see that ep.
Dude, Nev Campbell was in the last episode of season 3.
Dang.
That's pretty big. That's a big get. I'm into it. Cool. I mean, here's the deal. I'm into this show. Ryan Gosling was season 5, episode 2. The Tale of the Station 109.1. That also had Gilbert Gottfried in it.
Oh man.
The same episode.
It's got to be a killer episode.
Wow. They did great. And we just did Sister Sister not too long ago, and Tia and Tamara Mowry were in an episode as well. I think there's a lot to go back and watch. I think this show is really fun. I just think that the last episode just was like a stinker, in my opinion.
Yeah. I did see something about how there's a different episode called The Tale of the Night Shift, which we actually almost watched. And even though that didn't air last, that was intended to be the last episode. I don't think it changes much, although it just might have been a cooler story, but like
it might have been a little bit better.
Yeah, I did good. After we watched the Tale of Badge, I went back and watched just like the beginning and end of the Tale of the Night Shift just to see if anything cool happened. But it ends with Gary and Sam like having like a little romantic moment, which was weird.
Yeah, they alluded to that in the beginning of.
Yeah, in the beginning it was like Gary likes Sam, but like Sam's too busy doing stuff. And then at the end of the episode, Sam goes to Gary and is like, "Hey, I like decided that like we should give this a shot." And Gary's like, "Oh, okay, like let's hang out. I'll put out the fire." And she's like, "No, let's leave the fire on and sit here for a little bit." And then the show ends.
Nice.
We're gonna have
Nice.
sex.
Oh god. They're
Sorry,
like 14.
What? I mean, let's be honest. Gary's probably like 25 by this point. I meant to look that up, but I forgot.
I mean, for sure. So, well, I mean, so what about you guys? Is this a fun, spooky time show to go back to and watch piecemeal episodes? I don't even feel like you need to watch. You can just watch whatever one you want, you know?
Yeah, I want to watch every episode. I just, they're hard to find.
Yeah, they're hard to find for sure.
They're not on like a regular streaming service. We actually watched this first and last by a VHS that Josh found in the woods.
Yeah. It was. I found
By
it in a
a
chest.
Fire pit.
By a lit fireplace
There
with
was
a
no one
chest.
else around. It was weird.
It said badge on it.
Yeah, it was
I
just a
opened it
chest.
up.
It was just some dry non-dairy creamer inside.
I use that. I used that in my coffee this morning.
Oh, good. Hope it's still fresh.
Oh.
Yeah, no, it worked out great. I loved it. Let's let's see how we did in the prediction town, huh?
Oh my gosh, I forgot about
All right.
that.
Yeah, we did predictions. I read mine first, so I'll read mine first again. My first prediction though was Midnight Society is disbanding. There was no talk about that.
No, they're cool.
Maybe I won. Maybe this worked out for me because I didn't remember if they did this at the end of every episode. But my second one was they put out the fire, and they definitely did that at the end of this episode. So
Yeah, well, at the end of the night shift one, they definitely don't. So
that
would
yeah,
have been
okay.
interesting.
Yeah, good. Unfortunately, I thought Badge was going to be a werewolf, so I didn't pick Irish Badger Leprechaun Man.
Yeah, this
So-
close to picking that.
So close. And then my last one was I wanted there to be a blimp, and unfortunately, Badge was not aeronautical in nature, so
No blimps in that garden.
no blimps. But I will take my 1 point, and I will wear it with a badge like a badge of honor. See what I did there?
A badger.
Like a badger. So 1 for me.
I had Dr. Vink is back, which he was not seen in this episode, unfortunately.
I did see he does make a appearance again in another
Yeah.
Frank story.
Oh, it stays with the same storyteller?
Frank likes Vink.
I guess that would be a pretty bullshit move if some other kid was just like, and in my story, Dr. Vink does this. And it's like, come on, man. That's a character
It'd be
I came
funny
up
if he
with.
did it.
That's my
It'd
deal.
be funny. It would be funny if he did it though, and then the other and like Frank was like, "Dude," like at the, like in the middle or something.
You're ruining the Vink character. It's
I
sacred.
have a arc for this guy, man. It's just not my turn for like another 5 weeks.
That's great. I said that there'd be 2 kids, a bully and a nerd, which I was right about the 2-kid format, but it was brother sister, not bully nerd. Although one's kind of a bully, the other's kind of a nerd. So, I said that there'd be a special effect with a monster with 6 arms. There wasn't. It was a badger-faced leprechaun. And then I said in the end, Dr. Vink goes to jail for his crimes against humanity. But again, he was not seen.
No, he was not.
Yeah, so no points.
All right. I had that it was not the last night, just another night, and
That was true.
Seemed to be true.
Yeah.
I doubled down on overalls, and I, to be honest, wasn't paying attention. But I think I would have noticed if someone was wearing overalls.
I saw no overalls
Okay.
either. So
Joe.
No.
Okay. Just checking. Oh yeah, no werewolf badge, and then no one died in the story. Not even Grandma was hanged by Badge.
Yeah.
Not even Badge. Badge
Not even
didn't
Badge.
even die.
He's just locked up.
Yep. Right back in the box. There was a fun little thing where Trevor's like just being a dick again at the end for no reason. Like, oh wait, so like she's like a witch, but she's like her holy thing is that she just watches this goblin in a box. Like how lame. And then Grandma just like does some spell on him and he can't remember what happened.
I mean, in all fairness, he was right. That is pretty lame.
Well, yeah, but then Grandma's like very clearly casting spells.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, she needs to learn more magic.
Yeah.
The Seta Wind.
She just became the setter win, so you gotta give her a second.
Yeah, she's got some time. All in all, if you want some nostalgic, fun, kids spooky level show, this is a good one. Just you don't need to watch that last episode. You're good.
Yep.
Just watch the one with Gosling and Gottfried in it. You'll be fine. I bet that one's a banger.
G&G. That's what they call them.
Get those VHSs off of eBay.
Yeah, they got them. Cool. Well, everybody, thank you for listening to Spooky Month. We had fun. We got scared.
Can
Got
we just use the Spooky Month theme song just going forward?
It's not. That's not how that works, Jimmy. If you play it every month, it's not special.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's like the McRib.
Yeah,
What-
it's like the McRib.
That's oh man, that's really bastardizing the spooky theme song, I think.
When's it, Joe? When's the last time you had a McRib?
I've actually never had a McRib. Yeah,
Probably not missing out.
I think you're fine.
I feel like I can imagine what it tastes like.
Yeah.
just
right?
just okay. Well, okay. So Spooky Month is over. Next week we'll be back with another episode of just regular First and Last. If you want to make show suggestions, you can hit us up at FNL Podcast on the Gmail or on the Twitter. That would be much appreciated. And also subscribe and 5 stars on whatever you're listening to, because that would help out. But I guess until then, we have 161 other episodes that you could listen to if you're interested. So, take a gander at that. We will see you next week.
I see like throwing the sand in.